I love Leslie Jones. I watched every SNL skit she was in. As a student of comedy, I'll explain her shtick this way. She acts like a hot, skinny white model in the body of a large, physically intimidating black woman. She's both entitled and deeply insecure. We all admire Leslie Jones' ability to believe or say anything she wants. She helps us recognize that you aren't how people see you. You're how you see yourself. Again, I'm a huge fan. If she had done that kind of routine with Jordan Klepper, let's say, I bet it would have been hilarious. But instead, she traded her celebrity for claps and money. Her monologue was mostly shouting. She gave her opinion that it's not in anyone's best interest to vote for Trump. Again, I love Leslie Jones. But if she's going to challenge me on what I think about Trump, Biden, or anyone else, she better make me laugh, or I'm going to have to treat her like any other person trying to convince me of something. So please, if you don't want to hear anything negative about Leslie Jones, do not watch this video. Click away. What I'm about to say isn't for you. All right, let's start with one of the last bits she did.
So here's an idea, America. How about for at least this election, for this one thing, let's not do the obviously stupid thing that we know we shouldn't do. And that means you're going to have to put in some effort. It means getting involved in the political process.
Couldn't agree more. Let's put in some effort. Unfortunately, I'm like a kid. You tell me to clean up my room, so I look at your room, Leslie, and wonder, why don't you put in the effort first?
I mean, are we going to really bring back a man who tried to overthrow the government?
Who exactly is saying he tried to overthrow the government? If Trump tried that, why isn't he in jail? Almost 4 years later. Why hasn't a court ruled that he tried to overthrow the government? Leslie, does innocent until proven guilty mean anything to you? Until a court rules on what he did, what you're repeating is Democrat Party propaganda at worst and an allegation at best. An allegation.
And listen, I know some people don't care about January 6th, but let me remind you about something real quick. He was also a terrible president before that!
Leslie, can I remind you of something? Over 70 million Americans voted for Trump in 2016. According to most surveys, more than 70 million Americans will again vote for him. That's almost half of the country, our brothers and sisters. In a democracy, what is the definition of terrible? I'd say when one half of the country doesn't recognize the feelings of the other half. That's what's terrible. And that's what you're doing here, in my opinion. Who is any of us to say to another American who they should like? 70 million fellow Americans, Leslie, do not think he was terrible and want him as president again. Well, shouting at them at the top of your lungs that they're idiots changed their minds. If your audience was randomly selected from our nation's population, would everyone be cheering your opinion that he was a terrible president? No. So you're preaching to the choir. What can you possibly change? If you really don't want Trump, why give his supporters more reason to hate the other side by shouting that they're idiots? Anyway, let's continue.
Do you really not remember? I know we don't have the attention spans anymore, but how can you forget the man who wanted to nuke a hurricane? That actually happened.
Sorry, Leslie. This makes me want to yell and shout like you. You're accusing people of having short attention spans. The problem to me is people won't even look at something for 1 second that is proof positive of criminality, of evil. You don't need a long attention span. You don't want a president who jokes about nuking a hurricane, but you're totally fine with the current president who sends bombs to bury women and children in the rubble of their apartment buildings? What women or children did Trump bomb? Again, I'm no fan of him, but please tell me. I have eyes. Biden sent bombs built with our tax dollars to be dropped on people's homes. I personally take some responsibility for killing women and children with my tax dollars. You don't want to with your tax dollars? Fine. Call me a simpleton, Leslie. Call me a short attention span loser. But I can think of no good reason to ever, and I'm saying ever, ever, ever drop bombs on people's homes. Now, if you think it has to be done for some reason, fine, state that reason. What you think is a joke here about Trump is just a signal to some of us out here that you're the worst kind of celebrity, one who sells themselves out to getting murdering politicians elected. This isn't about Democrats or Republicans, about Trump or Biden. This is about what I can see with my own eyes. Why can't you? Let me really drive the point home, Leslie, and I'm sorry for taking the gloves off here. In 1791, the enslaved blacks in the French colony of modern-day Haiti launched a rebellion against their French owners. You know what the U.S. did? It sent weapons to help the blacks gain their freedom. No, just joking. We sent them to the French to kill the black slaves. And I'm sure the French, like the Israelis today, didn't separate them before shooting. That's what you're condoning here, Leslie. You're using your celebrity to get a president reelected who has assisted in the killing of women and children by a hugely powerful state actor. Like you said, put in the time and open your effing eyes. You're being played. Okay, I'm going to calm down and let's start over. Isn't it possible that 70 million Americans might have a legitimate, simpler reason for not wanting to vote for Biden? It might even be in one of the segments you did. Let's go look.
Just for an In-N-Out burger.
At the store's first location in Idaho, some patrons had to wait as long as 8 hours. This week's opening featured customers even braving cold temperatures to camp out overnight just to be the first in line.
You disgusting, gluttonous motherfucker.
It has nothing to do with gluttony, Leslie. Most people are so starved for real human interactions, for socializing, that they'll do things like that. I wouldn't do it. I won't even stand in line for 8 minutes, let alone 8 hours. But I get it. I don't go watch grown men throw a ball around either, but I get it. Not everyone can go to VIP parties like you. Not everyone is a nerd like me. People want, or I should say most people want, a sense of belonging, of purpose. And they'll do anything to achieve it. It's why they like Trump. For all his warts, they feel like he talks to them. He relates to them. They feel like they're part of a family. The MAGA family. Why are people clapping for you on The Daily Show? Is it the jokes? Do you think if you could inhabit a stranger's body and do the routine you just did, you'd get laughs? I don't see it. You didn't do a single decent joke. I'm sorry. They're clapping for you because they enjoy feeling like they're part of a group of good, like-minded people. They, too, might have stood in line 8 hours to see you. Are they gluttons for comedy? Would you, criticize them for standing in line 8 hours just to see a person yell at them? All right.
Inject ourselves with disinfectant!
Even in the clip you show of Trump, he only asks the question. What you're shouting simply never happened. Sorry, lying is lying, Leslie.
Some of the stuff we eat shouldn't even be legal. In fact, in some countries, it's not legal. There's shit that's been banned in Europe because it gives you cancer, and we're like, nah, we good.
Nah. Like, we're not going to name names on TV. We're not going to call out those food producers, Leslie. You want to fight that problem? Name names. What, we're supposed to figure out what those ingredients are on the packaging? Why don't you talk to an expert and get some names and let us know? Instead, you pretend to call out the very companies who advertise on The Daily Show and pay you to shout your opinion about Trump. More than 44,000 people have liked this video. Do you know how many people will like this one? Maybe a dozen. And whatever number that is, 10 times more will downvote it. So don't worry, Leslie Jones. Everyone is on your side. You are right, I am wrong. People like me, we're the problem with this country. Fortunately, our numbers are so minuscule, so small, it's inconsequential. But should you ever want to hear what independently minded people think, well, here's a taste, Leslie. And I hope the next time you go on any of these shows with your political opinions, you'll take your own advice. Put in the effort. Thank you.